Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a video that I've been getting requested quite a lot for some reason. And what that video is, it's basically character creation, but this time in the God Machine Chronicle rather than sort of vanilla World of Darkness. So I must be perfectly honest, I'm not an expert in the God Machine Chronicle. I did look into it and I did read through the character creation sort of part of the rulebook. But if I miss one or two nuances, I do apologize. But what I want to do today is talk over not character creation from start to finish, but basically the key differences between character creation in the God Machine Chronicle and character creation in basic World of Darkness. Because one of the things that I noticed, or one of the things that I found out that was quite interesting, is that there's actually not a lot of differences when it comes down to character creation. They've basically revamped a few of the systems, but essentially the backbone of character creation in God Machine Chronicle is essentially the same as that in vanilla World of Darkness. So what I'd suggest you do is watch my original World of Darkness character creation video first, then come over here just to figure out some of the differences. And if you do want me to do a full video of character creation in the God Machine Chronicle, let me know, but I thought I'd do like a little shorter one just to kind of explain the differences, or the three main differences that I could sort of determine. Alright, so the first primary difference is that the virtue and vice system has been revamped. Okay, so now, whereas in previous editions of the game, virtues and vices were essentially just that you picked from a short list, what they've done is they've vastly expanded this. And one of the things that I noticed in the God Machine Chronicle is that it all seems to be gearing towards a more storytelling approach. They've basically taken the few mathy components of World of Darkness and just made them more storytelling centric. Which I think is great because the game thrives as a storytelling game. So let's have a look at some of the virtues and vices that we have available. So rather than, well, let's actually start with the vices first, because the vices in the original game were those 7 deadly sins. I'm not sure if you remember, like wrath, gluttony, sloth. So here we have a much bigger list to choose from. And one of the things that God Machine Chronicle really focuses on when we talk about character creation is creating a fleshed out 3-dimensional character. That's something that's really important. So you'll have a lot more. They talk about it as like an adjective to describe your character. So you've got a lot more adjectives to choose from when it comes to picking your virtues and your vices. So you can be loyal, but you can also be arrogant. And you see that's a lot more 3-dimensional feeling than gluttony or lust. You can be an arrogant guy, which is a much more sort of. I feel that they're almost painting with a finer brush in God Machine Chronicle, which is a lovely change. If we come down to the bottom of the character sheet here, you can actually see here at the bottom, if I zoom in a little bit, that these things, this guide here at the bottom is actually still probably one of the best ways to follow and to figure out how to create your character, because it's a very handy little legend down here at the bottom. Okay, and most of them are very similar. You may notice a few differences on the character sheet, but for the most part, it's very similar. It's actually laid out in pretty much exactly the same way. So that's the one big difference, is that virtues and vices are a lot more refined, I would say. The next thing I want to talk about is that you'll notice here on the right-hand side, where we once had a more mortality track, or a morality track, sorry, it has now been replaced by an integrity track. So what is our starting integrity? Let's see here, is 7. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we've got 7 starting integrity, which is very nice. Now, the way that these systems have been refined is that they're a lot more drama orientated. So basically, rather than it being a mathy thing, now if your character encounters something that shakes their very foundations, and there's guidelines in the rulebook. On page 184, actually, let me just find that in the rulebook quickly. Here we go. There's guidelines in the rulebook to define this, but basically, if your character encounters something that shatters them, or really shakes their foundations, it's what's termed a breaking point. Okay, so this is where our integrity comes into play. So basically, the character will encounter something that'll be determined or counted as a breaking point. So are part of the 300 block tale. They eventually find the boiler room and discover the mechanisms covered in flesh blood. Does this constitute a breaking point for any of them? And what's interesting about this is that there's no black and white when it comes to a breaking point. Depending on the type of character and their experiences that they've been through in their life, what would count as a breaking point will vary. Basically, what happens is when a character experiences a breaking point, the player rolls a resolve plus composure, with a modifier based on the character's integrity rating. So basically, the lower your integrity goes, the more likely you are to sort of suffer failures in these roles. And there's a little table here of modifiers on page 185. And then look at what happens with the results here. So, oopsie daisy. So this is where the system really starts to make sense. So if your character has a dramatic failure, the character's worldview has been damaged, perhaps beyond repair. The character suffers from a traumatic stress, lose a dot of integrity. So this is where we start dropping our integrity and become a little bit more fragile. And then take one of the following conditions: broken, fugue, or madness. Or you can sort of create a new one with the storyteller approval, and I'll talk about these in a second. And you also take a beat. Now we'll talk about beats in a moment as well. Failure: the character's worldview has been shaken, and he probably questions his sense of self, his ability to relate to people, and his own moral worth or his sanity. Lose a dot of integrity again, and choose one of the following conditions, or create a new one. So it's this basically the same. You take a condition, lose an integrity, but you don't take a beat. Okay. Success, then you sort of, I'm not going to read through all of these, but basically they are conditions that basically affect your character and the way that your character interacts with the world. So there's a few here, let me just scroll down a little bit, a few here that are like persistent. So amnesia, blind, broken, bonded, connected, disabled, deprived, guilty, informed, inspired, so these are just sort of things that can alter your character and the way that they play. So basically your character encounters something that messes with them, and as a result they now suffer from amnesia, which is a persistent condition in addition to losing a dot of integrity. So one of the things that I mentioned, this brings me on to the last point, and that's the last main difference, is that over here when we spoke about taking a failure or a dramatic failure in an integrity role, one of the things it says is take a beat. Now beats are listed down here, and this is the last main difference, is that the experience system has been replaced, because the experience system was kind of mathy and felt a little bit out of place in original World of Darkness. So what they've done is they've replaced it with this beats system. Okay, sick beats. So failing an integrity role is one of the ways that your character can take a beat. And basically, I'll talk a little bit about some of the others now, but once your character has taken 5 beats, they then take an experience. All right. And experience is like an experience point, and you can use those to sort of level up your skills, do that kind of thing. So 5 beats equals 1 experience. And let's just have a little bit of a look at the beats and experience system in the rulebook. Now you can find this on page 157, which is what I'm going to do quickly. 150, where are we now? 156, 157. Here we go. So just like there will be different criteria for what constitutes as a breaking point, there are also different criteria for what constitutes as a beat. So there's a sort of a system here that'll help you find out whether something constitutes as a beat. But I'm just going to read through here. Throughout the game, aspirations, conditions, and certain other criteria allow you to take a beat. A beat in dramatic terms is time enough for the audience to recognize a plot point or change for a character. Think of it as a unit for drama. Like if you've ever studied drama, you'll know about someone taking a beat. It means like there's like a dramatic pause or some dramatic twist in story. And once you've taken 5 beats, you gain an experience. Now you can expend your experience as follows. So if we look over here, to spend to buy a merit point, it's 1 experience per dot. A skill speciality, 1 experience. Skill, 2 experiences per dot. Attribute, 4 experiences. Integrity, 3 experiences per dot. And willpower, 1 experience per dot. And the other thing here that has changed is also some of the costing for how you spend to buy skills and things, but I'm not going to go into too much detail around that. Let me just find here in the rulebook where it talks about a beat, or what quantifies as a beat. It's here somewhere. Oh dear, breaking points. Okay, experience beats. Each time your character fulfills one of the following criteria, take a beat. Certain criteria have limitations. For example, you will only gain 1 beat for a dramatic failure. If your character fulfills an aspiration, take a beat. So if they have an aspiration that is to do something or achieve something and they gain that, they take a beat. Boom. Some roles and powers may impart conditions on your character. Each condition has criteria for resolution, usually requiring a difficult choice for a character. If resolved, take a beat. You may only take 1 beat for a condition in a given scene. If you fail a roll, you may opt to take a dramatic failure instead, and if you do so, take a beat. That's quite interesting. So you can actually choose to screw up but learn from your mistakes and take a beat. If your character takes damage in one of her last rightmost health boxes, take a beat. So if you're really getting beat down, you can take a beat. And the storyteller can also choose to award a beat for any exceptional example of role-playing tactics or character development. And that's the real, I think, the heart of World of Darkness. It's about storytelling. So if the storyteller decides, hey, you've done really well and you deserve that, or you've really come up with a unique solution to a puzzle, take a beat. Now, what's also interesting is during character creation, you can choose to give experience when the character is being created. So a seasoned character will start with 5 experiences, a expert character will start with 10, and heroic will start with 15, which they can then use to spend on points. Okay? And the last main difference is that the merits have been revised. So there's a lot of different merits to choose from. So I'm not going to go through these, but it's up to you to go through them in the rule book and just have a look at them. But basically, you've got a lot more. They're a lot more refined, a much tighter merit system. And in addition, let me see if I can find it here. I'm not finding it yet. But anyway, yeah, the merits have also been packaged into different groups, which makes it more helpful to find what you're looking for. And that's basically everything that is sort of hugely different in the God Machine Chronicle. I hope that you found this helpful. And if you want me to do a full character creation walkthrough, then let me know. But until next time, thanks for watching. Take care of each other. And yeah, I'll chat to you soon. Bye-bye.